She boarded a plane like any other passenger, quiet, kind, and humble. But when a flight attendant slapped her in front of everyone, the truth shook the entire airline. Because the woman she insulted owned the skies themselves. The plane was full that morning. People rushed to their seats. Attendants smiled, fake smiles. Engines hummed in the background. A woman in a black suit quietly walked down the aisle. She carried no loud attitude, no gold chain, no show-off, just calm grace and silent power. Her name was Ava Monroe, CEO of Monroe Air, one of the largest private airline networks in the world. But no one on this commercial flight knew that, not even the attendants. She booked her flight quietly, without her title, without any VIP label. She wanted to see how her staff treated normal passengers. Ava sat near the window seat in the business section. She smiled gently at a young mother struggling with a baby and helped her lift the bag to the overhead compartment. The mother thanked her softly, calling her kind. But then came Lisa, a senior flight attendant with sharp eyes and sharper words. She walked with authority, as if she owned the air. She looked at Ava with suspicion. Seeing her simple outfit and calm face, Lisa assumed she was just another ordinary woman, maybe even in the wrong seat. Lisa spoke in a loud tone. "Ma'am, I think you are in the wrong section," Ava replied softly. "No, this is my seat." Lisa raised her brow. Without checking the ticket, she rolled her eyes and said, "People like you always try to sneak in a business class. Move before I call security." Ava looked at her for a moment, silent, calm. Then she showed her boarding pass. Lisa snatched it from her hand, glanced at it, and froze for a second. It said, clearly business class, seat 3. A stiller pride didn't let her apologize. She tossed the ticket back with a smirk. "Sit down, but don't expect any special treatment." Ava nodded silently. She said nothing, but fate had planned something much bigger for Lisa that day. The flight took off. The air was calm for a while. Lisa served others with fake politeness, but gave Ava only half attention. No smile, no drink. Ava asked gently for some water. Lisa ignored her, walked past her, and came back 10 minutes later, dropping a cup on the tray, so hard that the water spilled over Ava's lap. Ava gasped softly. The cold water soaked her clothes. Lisa simply said, "Maybe you should hold it better next time." Ava calmly wiped her hands with a napkin. No anger, no words or silence made Lisa even more annoyed. She said loudly, so others could hear, "Some passengers don't belong in business class, no matter what ticket they buy." People turned to look. Some laughed awkwardly. Some looked away. Ava felt a quiet sting inside her chest, not because of the insult, but because she realized how many people face this every day for their color or status. But still she stayed calm. The co-attendant named Mark noticed the scene. He whispered to Lisa, "Maybe go easy on her, you never know who people are." Lisa laughed. She said, "She's probably someone's assistant or nanny. She should be thankful we even let her sit here." As the plane cruised above the clouds, turbulence shook the cabin. A tray of drinks toppled. Ava quickly helped catch one glass before it fell on a child beside her. The passengers clapped softly, thanking her. Lisa, arrived late, glared and said sarcastically, "Oh, so you can move fast when you want to, huh?" Mark whispered again, "Leave her alone, Lisa." But she didn't listen. 2 hours into the flight, Lisa came down the aisle checking seat belts. Ava's seatbelt was loose because the child next to her had accidentally tugged it. Lisa saw it and exploded. "Stop breaking rules," she shouted. Ava began to explain, but before she could finish, Lisa grabbed her arm and pushed it back, roughly tightening the belt. Then when Ava tried to move away, Lisa's hand struck her face. A loud slap echoed through the cabin. The whole plane went silent. "A baby," cried a man, shouted, "What the hell did you just do?" Lisa froze, realizing what she had done. Her hand trembled slightly, but pride chained her tongue. She said loudly, "She was being difficult, sir. I was only keeping order." Ava touched her cheek, slowly, her eyes calm, yet heavy with deep hurt. She stood up straight. Her voice was low, but firm. "You just made the biggest mistake of your life." Lisa frowned. "Oh, really? And who's going to stop me? You think you're somebody." Ava took a deep breath. She did not shout. She simply said, "Wait until we land." Then she sat down quietly again and looked out the window. Mark whispered, "You went too far." Lisa whispered back, "She deserved it. I will tell the captain if she complains." But deep inside, fear began crawling into her chest. The wheels touched the ground with a soft thud. The plane slowed down, and people began to clap, slightly relieved that they had landed safely. Ava remained still, her face calm. but her eyes carried quiet storm. She looked out the window, watching the airport lights flicker across the runway. Lisa walked down the aisle, pretending nothing had happened. She was trying to hold her pride together, but fear had already begun eating at her. She knew deep down something about this woman was different. The silence around her was heavy, almost royal. Passengers whispered among themselves. Some had recorded the slap. Secretly, one man turned to Lisa and said, "You better hope she does not report you. That woman is not just anyone." But Lisa brushed him off with fake laughter, saying, "People always exaggerate. She is just another entitled passenger." When the seatbelt signs turned off, Ava stood slowly. Everyone turned to look at her. She did not raise her voice. She did not glare. She just said to the passengers, "I would like to thank you all for keeping calm during the flight. I apologize for any discomfort caused away." She said it, the authority in her voice, the grace. Without anger, it struck everyone silent. As she moved toward the door, the captain appeared, trying to smile. Nervously, "Welcome to Los Angeles, miss." Ma'am." Ava simply nodded. "Thank you, Captain. Please gather your crew outside. I will speak to them shortly." Her tone left no room for questions. Lisa frowned, confused. "Why should we gather outside?" she whispered to another attendant. But before anyone could answer, the cockpit phone rang. The co-pilot answered, and his eyes widened. He looked directly at Lisa and said, "The corporate team is waiting outside. They said they are meeting Miss Monroe." Lisa blinked. "Miss Monroe? What do you mean?" The pilot swallowed hard. "Ava Monroe, the owner of this airline." Lisa's knees almost gave out. She stared at Ava's calm figure, standing near the exit door, and her heart began to race faster than the plane's engines. When the door opened, the brightness of the morning blinded her for a second. A group of executives stood at the gate, wearing official Monroe Air badges, security staff cameras, corporate members, all present. One of them stepped forward, smiling respectfully, and said, "Good morning, Miss Monroe. We received your message, and we are ready for inspection." Lisa's mouth fell open. The world around her went blurry. She looked at Ava, then back at the man, then back again. Realization hit her like thunder. She had just slapped her boss, her owner, her CEO. Ava turned slowly, her eyes meeting Lisa's shaking figure. She spoke softly, but her words struck like lightning. "Lisa, I took this flight because I wanted to see how my employees treat ordinary passengers. I never expected to witness such arrogance, such cruelty with my own eyes." Lisa opened her mouth to speak, but no words came out. Ava continued, "You didn't know who I was, but that should not matter. You should treat everyone with dignity, whether they are a CEO or a cleaner or a mother with a child. That is what service means." Lisa started crying. "Ma'am, I was stressed. I did not mean to." Ava raised her hand to stop her. The camera recorded everything. "Lisa, the passengers saw it. You insulted me. And then you struck me. You embarrassed the name of this airline in front of dozens of people, and that is something I will not overlook." Gasps spread among the crowd. The captain lowered his head, ashamed. Ava looked around and said quietly to everyone who witnessed this, "I apologize on behalf of my company. This is not who we are or who we aim to be. Thank you for your patience and your kindness." Her voice was so composed that people began to clap softly. Some shouted, "You are amazing. You taught her a lesson." Ava bowed her head slightly and walked away, leaving Lisa standing frozen, her career shattered before her eyes. That evening at Monroe Air headquarters, tension filled the air. Executives gathered in the glass conference room. As the sun set over the skyline, Lisa sat at the far end, trembling. Her uniform looked dull, her eyes red from crying. Ava entered the room quietly, wearing a white suit, simple yet commanding. Everyone stood up immediately. Even the board members fell silent. Ava took her seat at the head of the table, looked at Lisa, and spoke softly yet powerfully. "Lisa, today was supposed to be an ordinary flight. I went undercover to test our service. But what I saw was not service. It was discrimination. You judged a passenger because of how she looked, and you used your position to humiliate her. You thought that was power, but true power is in respect and restraint, not in humiliation." Lisa's lips quiver. "Ma'am, please, I was wrong. I let my frustration control me. Please give me one more chance." Ava looked at her for a long moment, then shook her head slowly. "I gave many chances before to people who refuse to learn, but I cannot let this one slide. This is not just about me. It is about every person you might treat the same way in the future." She turned to HR. and said begin immediate termination process, suspend her flight credentials, and place her name on the restricted rehire list. The HR manager nodded softly. Yes, ma'am. It will be done. Lisa broke down in tears. Please, ma'am. I have a family. Ava's voice softened a little. I hope this becomes the moment you truly change. Learn from this not with bitterness, but humility. Ava stood and faced the rest of the staff. I built Monroe Air from nothing. I faced closed doors and endless doubt, but I believe the sky could belong to everyone today. I saw how far we still have to go. The company will introduce a new training program focusing on empathy, cultural awareness, and human respect. No more fake smiles, only real service. The room erupted in soft applause. People felt her sincerity, her strength, her pain. She wasn't just a CEO, she was a woman who had lived through discrimination and turned it into leadership. After the meeting, Ava walked to the viewing deck. She looked at one of her planes taking off into the crimson sunset, her reflection shone on the glass. She whispered softly, the sky belongs to everyone, and so does dignity. Outside the airport, a crowd had gathered. Reporters asked questions. Passengers from the flight shared their recordings online. Overnight, Ava's story trended worldwide. The headline read, Black CEO teaches humanity. At 30,000 feet, millions watched, and commented. Messages of support poured in. Hashtags filled the screens. The next morning, Ava prepared for another journey. Her assistant asked, Ma'am, are you sure you want to fly again? So soon? She smiled. Yes, because change does not happen on the ground, it begins in the sky. She boarded quietly. Passengers greeted her with respect and admiration. Some recognized her and said softly, thank you for what you did. You made us proud. She smiled back, saying, always remember, no one is above kindness, no one below respect. As the engines roared and the plane lifted through golden clouds, Ava closed her eyes, feeling peace in her heart. The world might still judge the color of her skin, but now she had turned that judgment into light, into hope, into lessons for millions. She whispered once more to herself, the sky belongs to everyone. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more powerful stories of courage and change.